Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video with Swaggle. I hope you all are having a wonderful Saturday. Perhaps you're doing some errands, preparing for football, or maybe you are watching the current Heritage Platinum auction going on at this very moment. Always very fun to watch these auctions. In fact, I did a live stream just the other day covering the first session. Well, here we are in session 4, and there's been a lot of incredible books going up for sale, a lot of incredible sales, and a lot of sales that also make you scratch your head just a little bit. Like this one you see before your very eyes, a Detective Comics number 47 in a CGC 7.0 just sold for the whopping price of $19,200. Now, you know, if I'm making a video about this sale, that has to be a ridiculous number for me to actually pull myself away from the auction and talk about it with you guys here today. Now, I don't really like to shame anybody for the prices that they pay for certain books, but this one is so outrageous, so outlandish, that it makes you think you need to go to Pepe Sylvia Town, put on your tinfoil hat, and actually legitimately ask the question of, do we have shenanigans going on in this auction? Is this simply a buyer that had too many drinks today, or is this actually some form of perhaps money laundering that we are seeing before our very eyes? Now, I don't mean to speculate, but I did think that it would be interesting to talk about the sale, talk about some of the interesting history of money laundering in comic books, and then maybe at the end of the video, remind you guys that it's never good to get tunnel vision when you're bidding on books. Perhaps the book that you're actually going after is available to you for cheaper on some other website. But of course, before I really get into it, if you guys could like, comment, subscribe, I'd appreciate it. Helps support the channel doing those things. Let's get into this video here today. Now, this, of course, is a sale that just happened here. This Detective Comics number 47, $19,200. Now, we have to put that into perspective, right? Because maybe you guys are thinking, well, hey, Detective Comics number 47, it's an old golden age book. Maybe that's how much these things sell for. Well, if we go into the history of this book and we look at, previous sales for this thing, you would actually see that not only has it not sold for $19,000, it is not sold for $16,000, nor $12,000, nor $10,000, nor $7,000, nor even $5,000, $4,000, or $3,000. In fact, the absolute record sale for this book came in 2021 for a 6.5 Promise Collection version of this that sold for $2,400. So you mean to tell me that the 7.0 copy, which frankly is not the top of census, actually went 10x in this auction here today? I mean, don't get me wrong, no disrespect to Bob Kane right here, but let's be honest, guys. This is neither a key nor the most incredible cover art that, exists within the Detective Comics run, let alone all comics that would yield a $20,000 price tag. Now, the one thing that I do find very interesting about this sale and why, the wheels started to spin for me was that I wonder if there's some irony here, because as you see on the CGC label, full page ad for All-Star Comics number 3. Now, what does All-Star Comics number 3 have to do with shill bidding and market manipulation and money laundering? Well, it actually reminded me of this very famous story within comic book history and scandal lore. This article is actually about somebody who did do money laundering through comic books at Heritage Auction many years ago, all the way back in 2012, a guy named Anthony Chiofalo. You can see right here the title of it, A True Crime Tale of Comic Books, Corruption, and a $9 million Vanishing Act. Now, I'm not going to read the entire article for you guys. I'll put a link in the description. It's definitely an awesome read. Shout out to the writers right here. A super interesting story, but it does go to illustrate, how money laundering does exist in the art world and in this particular story, comic books specifically, and that there were people on the forums at that time that discovered like some outlandish sales that led to, people investigating some of the sales and actually finding out that this in fact was money laundering. And one of the books in question that really kind of put the spotlight on the whole scam was All-Star Comics number 3. Of course, if you guys know, All-Star Comics number 3 is the first team appearance of the Justice Society of America, the very first superhero team right here. So I thought that it was really interesting that here we have this sale that absolutely went crazy here, at the $19,200 range. Previous high for this was $2,400, and it is for a Detective Comics book that has a full page ad for All-Star Comics number 3. perhaps a coincidence, or perhaps the money launderer here actually has a sense of humor. Either way, I thought it was a really interesting sale to discuss and share with you guys here today. I'd love to get your thoughts on this one. But again, to quickly summarize, what this person was doing was actually just bidding up random books and paying outlandish prices in order to kind of, hide money that they had being laundered in other industries and businesses and things like that. And again, that's really one of the interesting things about, the art world, the collectible world, the comic book world. A lot of this, tax evasion and money hiding, shenanigan stuff happens quite a lot. I mean, this is like very, very prevalent. It's not just heritage auctions. I mean, this really goes up, the chain. You run this up the flagpole and you go to like Christie's and Sotheby's and you have like, art scandals and hundreds of millions of dollars. In fact, there was that one Leonardo da Vinci painting that sold for 400 million. I mean, in a lot of ways, I think that one is, said to be the biggest scandal fraud, like almost in the history of the world. I mean, at $400 million for, this, what would be a fake Leonardo da Vinci painting and all this sort of, back end dealings and smoke-filled room, shenanigans and handshake deals and tax evasions and things like that. So it is really interesting, how a lot of this stuff can happen. And, when you start to see a lot of these crazy sales that make you scratch your head, they're not necessarily for books that should be commanding these types of prices. We're not necessarily in a market like, COVID or the 2021 boom where, things were just doubling and tripling overnight because that's just, the economy that we were in. I mean, it's just very, very odd. I mean, maybe, maybe I'm making much ado about nothing. Perhaps this person just really, really wanted this book. That's the thing with comic books. You never really know with some of these sales. I mean, if somebody just wants it then, there, and now, and two people, go crazy and they tunnel on this thing, then they can absolutely bid it up to ridiculous prices. And I guess that's kind of where I would want to end the video and sort of talk about, some of the other interesting stuff going on in the sale, because we actually did see a lot of crazy prices for Detective Comics. This one right here, Detective Comics number 43, a $9,000 sale for a CGC 7.5. To put that into perspective, just a few months ago, we had the same comic book sell for $5,000, at auction as well. And what's really interesting about this is this is a book that, yes, while it is rare, yes, while it is an incredible, incredible Batman cover, I mean, there's literally this book in a 7.0 that was sitting on eBay before the sale began today at half price. Like the person bidding on this that got tunnel vision to bid it all the way up to $9,000 could have had a 0.5 less of a copy for the $4,000 price point. And so I guess where I'm going with all of this is that, if this is not, some kind of weird shenanigan stuff going on behind the scenes and bidding up stuff and shill bidding and all that sort of craziness, if it's not that, and it's just people, getting tunnel vision and going crazy, having too many drinks, maybe their trigger figure is just a little too loose, just bidding, gotta win. Just know, guys, sometimes you just gotta stop yourselves and go over to other websites and you'll be able to find those books being sold for cheaper than what you're actually bidding. Anyways, that's all I got for this video. A very, very strange sale for this one. I just thought it would be important to sort of point it out to you guys. I mean, there's a lot of people that overspend on comic books from time to time, but when you go from $2,400 for a Promise Collection pedigree book, to $20,000, I mean, it makes you scratch your head. It does make you wonder just a little bit. Again, I'll put a link to that article in the description. You guys should definitely check it out. Let me know what you guys thought. Anyways, like, comment, subscribe. See y'all in the next one. The pulp adventure continues with issues 2 and 3 of my comic series, Sanity, a noir detective story set in the Lovecraftian universe. The pre-launch page has just awakened from its cosmic slumber, so go give it a follow and stay informed on the madness to come. Link in the description.